luto yang naman lampalan ujung tiang dioyos dioyos dioyang nama inu Allah kumben tiang tisa lalama nadaluto yang naman lampalan ujung tiang dioyos dioyos dioyang nama inu Allah kumben tiang. Hi everyone. Welcome to our show. This is our Gawai show. And it's really good and really strange to be here. And I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. We can't see your comments or anything right now, but I'll be sure to check them out after the show. So let us know where you're tuning in from, how you spent your Gawai, and just how you're doing in general. So we're going to share with you some songs from the Orang Ulu community, mostly Kenya and Klabit people. And this is kind of a journey along the Ulu Baram rivers of Sarawak. If you can imagine Miri or Brunei, and you go south down to the Malaysia-Indonesia border, that's where my grandparents are from. And that's kind of, there's a river called the Baram River that flows out to the sea that goes that way. So these are songs from, these are songs from the villages and the people whose lives depend on that river across time. So from the past and until today as well. The song that I just shared with you is actually two songs. And the first was in Klabit, second was in Kenya, and it's a song to welcome the guests. So every time we have a party in the longhouse, there's a lot of people coming, whether it's a wedding or a meeting or a get-together. The host will always sing a welcoming song, saying how beautiful everybody looks. I look up, I look down, everybody looks so beautiful, come and take my hand. So I'm going to imagine you guys here with me. The next song we'll share with you is my favorite song. It's called Bomong Jae, and it's a song about being together. And it's a song in Kenya about being together with my very, very true friends by the river, under the moonlight, by the river that gives us so much life. And again, because it's a Gawai show, we're here in Kuala Lumpur, in KL, and we can't make it home for Gawai this year. I actually haven't been home for Gawai in many, many years. And last year I said to myself, right, I'm going to go back to Sarawak for Gawai next year and even to Kalimantan, but that's not happening. So yeah, here's a song about being together with my friends. Bulan alam ini hidang bulan ya taglandalan naluinan tuyang ya taglandalan naluinan tuyang nyai ketanyai kan tuyang sao sungai limu kanan sao sungai limu kanan ya taglandalan naluinan lunan ya taglandalan naluinan tuyang Jayana dulu tuyang alam ini dah bulan alam ini Thank you. So how we usually do these shows is that there's a lot of storytelling in between, because in the past, actually even now, the songs, some of the songs are stories. They tell stories, and that's why the lyrics differ from singer to singer, from generation to generation, because there's always a new story to tell. So that song that I just sang for you, and the next one that we'll play, Lan E Tuyang, is likely a song from the peacemaking times. And now this is something that's not in our sejarah books, our history books, along with many other things. So this is from the time of peacemaking. And peacemaking was about 100 to 150 years ago, in Sarawak, or back then it was part of Brunei as well. And that was when James Brooke was brought in by the Sultan of Brunei to help eradicate warfare and headhunting. So back then there was a lot of warfare, headhunting between the tribes and also within tribes as well. And through this time of peacemaking, the different villages and different communities in the interiors of Sarawak wanted to make peace, and we think that these songs came from that period of time, songs about being together. Now the next song, Lan Et Tuyang, is probably, this is what we think lies our hypothesis, because a lot of them are in metaphors, was a song from the headhunting times as well. So in the past, when our people brought back the heads of enemies to the village, they would tie it above the fireplace. They would tie the heads above the fireplace and to smoke them out. And they would believe that the spirits of the enemies would become their friends and would protect them. And so this is a song about something about welcoming the spirits of the enemies, and they travel through this big rock. We have big rocks by the riverside, and apparently there was a portal. I always say like apparently and we think and maybe, because those beliefs are no longer practiced and a lot of them have been forgotten. So these are just things that we kind of piece together. So this is going to be an instrumental song. Because last time the sape was instrumental, there wasn't singing with it. My teacher, Matthew Ngao, he was the first one to put singing together with the sape, maybe about 40 years ago, maybe? Thank you. It's so nice to hear claps. I've been like the first day of MCO and the first weeks I was doing sape sound baths every night. And it was actually the first time I was doing Instagram Live because I always found them very weird. And yeah, they are still weird. But you know, you would like finish a song and then it would just be silence and you're just staring at this phone screen that's like here. So it's so nice to hear claps. This is like the first time in how many months? Yeah, I wonder how long we're going to be doing shows like this. Yeah. Do you guys also find that after MCO, CMCO, it's a bit hard to talk to people? Because now I'm like mumbling. The last time we played together as a band was in February. Is it end of February? Or start? It was early February. We were in Taiwan, and just last Sunday we started jamming again together, and it's so good to be back together. Right, guys? The next song I have for you is called Mano. And this is a song I learned from Uncle Solomon and later on from Stephen, Uncle Jimbun, and Uncle Matthew. And it's a very beautiful song. It's a little bit sad. So this is a song called Mano. And Mano, apparently, it's a feeling of nostalgia and thinking of home. Not quite missing home, apparently, but just thinking of home. Because our ancestors they lived very remotely in the interiors of Borneo. And in order to make a living, they would travel along the Baram River, travel on foot and in boats until they reached Miri, the coastal town. And with them, they would bring their produce. So they would bring like tobacco, rice, jungle produce, meat. And they then would trade for money, for clothes, like ceramic jars and gongs. And this journey would take weeks, right? And they would stay at different longhouses along the way. And yeah, this is a song that describes that emotion of being away from home, but you're also kind of doing it to look after your family. And I used to always share it at shows because the last 3 years I was traveling a lot, like way too much for shows. And sometimes when I play this song, I would feel like, oh, this is how I feel right now. So yeah, this is Mano, and this is for everybody who's thinking about home. Mano amela bodaya umadado dayena kadai iko amai natai na ule natai ule ula anglian lunda kunalong mano mano amela podaya umadado. Thank you. Ooh-ha. Hear that say go ooh-ha at your screens? Ooh-ha. Ooh-ha. This next song is for my dad and my mom. But when we were sound checking just now, they video called, and my dad said, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to Midang Midang the most." So this one's for you guys. Midang Midang is a song that's passed to us by Tepo Ira. Tepo Ira is my grand auntie. So I learned it in 2015, and I was in Barrio, our Kampong Barrio. Have you guys been to Barrio? I usually ask that at a live show. Who here has been to Barrio? We'll take you there, Jimmy. So yeah, I was in Barrio, and there's just like 4 shops there. So one night I walked into one of the shops, and I was talking to my aunties, and then Tepo Ira walks in, and she looks at me. I look at her. I say, "Hi, Tepo," and she looks at me, and then she like puts down her bag, and then she like mumbles something and goes and sits down. Right, I'm this tall. She's like this tall, and after a while, she looked at me again, and she said, "You sing, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I try to sing." And she said, "I want to teach you a song. Tomorrow, come to my house at 9 a.m. and I'll teach you a song." So I was very happy because I don't get that very often. It's usually me approaching them, not them coming to me to give a song. So at 9 a.m., I went to her house, and she came in, probably having woken up at 5 a.m., gone to the farm, had her like big basket full of vegetables. She put it down, and then she looked at me and she said, "Wait 5 minutes." So I waited in her living room, and she comes out, and she's wearing her full beaded costume, which she made herself, and her like precious bead cap. And she said, "Okay, what song do you want to learn?" And I looked at her, I looked at me, I just kind of rolled out of bed in my gray hoodie and like floppy pants. And I said, "Teach me whatever song you want to teach me, but not too long, because our songs can last for 7 days. That's not an exaggeration." So she taught me this song, Midang Midang. It's a song sung from the point of view of a young girl, and she's watching the leaves dry in the sun, and she's calling out the names of guys who she would like to get to know better. So this was from the times of matchmaking and courtship. And every verse she names a different guy. Thank you. I've missed playing that song so much. That was a solo by Jonathan Wong, everyone. So I'm going to introduce the band. Let me introduce this lady here first. This is my sape tech, Emma. And woo! So we started learning sape in the year 2000. That time we were just 7 girls and we were the first of our generation to play. It was so long ago, huh? We were so small. On the guitar we have Jonathan Wong. On the other guitar we have Joshua Murang. He's also my producer. And on the drums we have Jimmy. Jimmy! We're so happy to be here at Jiao Tim. It's actually my first time here. I wish I could show you my view right now, but maybe another time. It's such a cool place. It's in Petaling Street in KL. And yeah, thank you, Jiao Tim, for having us. I have to let you guys know that they've been doing such an awesome job at keeping music alive during these times, because they've been doing online shows since MCO. So during MCO, it was engaging musicians at home, and now in CMCO, it's every Saturday and Sunday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're doing live shows for musicians here, which is so awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for lining us and opening on a weekday. We really, really wanted to do a Gawai show. Woo-ha! Whenever so before we have shows, we usually have to send out to the production team our list of instruments and what we need, right? So, we have sape, guitars, and we need mics and drums and everything. And then I always have this instrument here. It's my rattan mat. So we use it for percussion, like on Midang Midang just now, that song. And we had that idea because if you're in the longhouse is made of wooden floor, and it's just covered in rattan and bamboo mats. And whenever we dance together, everybody would do this. So you can imagine this like multiplied by 100 or 1,000 people. But it's just me today. Yeah, so this is why I have my rattan mat. Usually it sits in my living room. This mat belonged to my grandfather. My grandfather's name was Murang. That's where I get my last name from. Okay, so the next song we have is Kabun Kawa, and this is a song that was passed to me by Uncle Solomon Gao. There's something about a warrior watching the mist rise in the horizon. And this song is usually for the male warrior dance. So this song has developed across the year, and we kind of interpret it as an inner strength, a warrior spirit that I see a lot of young Dayak people, modern young Dayak people, the new generation, still have this spirit in them. And it's kind of like semangat, and it's a semangat, or it's a spirit or an intention that is, I really believe it's inherited from our families. And when you come together as a community, it's kind of multiplied and becomes very strong. And you see why Sarawak people are so Sarawak proud. That might be one of the reasons. But yeah, I think it's a feeling or emotion that's greatly needed at this time. So yeah, enjoy the song. Thank you. Ooh. Give it up for a solo by John Wong. Woohoo! I love that part. Yeah, I've missed them a lot. I'm going to attempt to play this. So, the maker, even before I bought it, he already put the name here on masking tape. It's called Selotwang. Selotwang. Selotu''Ang. That's one of the Bidayu dialects. So why I'm playing this is because I don't have a pagang with me, and it's a very similar instrument. So pagang this is 3 strings. Pagang usually has 4 strings, and pagang was originally played by the Kelabit people, the Kelabit ladies, and it was before strings. So you can imagine it's not a very diverse sounding instrument. And that was what the Kelabit ladies used to dance to as well. And then after that, through integration with other tribes and communities, we adopted the sapit. And there's quite a lot of tribes throughout Borneo that have their own variation of this instrument. And apparently, we think that it might have traveled from Borneo to Madagascar, because we are Austronesian people, meaning we came from Taiwan, traveled down Philippines, went to Borneo, from Borneo off to Madagascar, and then from Borneo off to Solomon Islands, Tahiti and Polynesian Islands, and then to New Zealand. Anyway, as I was saying, so we think this instrument traveled from Borneo to Madagascar, and in Madagascar it has developed and changed across the centuries to become the valia. The valia is an instrument that's Sape is synonymous with Sarawak now. So Sape is synonymous with Sarawak, valia is synonymous with Madagascar. And the valia, it has developed, they used to use bicycle strings. Bicycle strings? How do you say? I don't know, there's a wire on bicycles. They use that. And now they just use guitar strings, and it sounds so different from this. Anyway, I told you got love stories today. Yeah, because, you can finally go out and talk to people. I need a drink. These guys are a bunch of jokers behind me. You can't hear them, but I can hear them. So I'm going to sing for you one song. I've only performed it once before, so bear with me. But it's a beautiful song with a beautiful story, which actually my mother passed to me. And we call it Alai song, so it's about a girl called Alai. And it's her lover singing to her. I don't know what his name is. And it's kind of our version of Romeo and Juliet. So there was, let's call him Romeo, okay? So there was this, Romeo and Alai fell in love. But in the past, we had caste system, like hierarchy, and they came from different castes. So they weren't allowed to marry, and their families and their village was very against it. So what do? You run away together, and you climb on top of a tall, tall, tall tree. No, you climb on top of a tall, tall, tall rock, like a cliff. So they climbed on vines up this cliff, which is still there today. And as they were climbing, they cut the vines behind them so that nobody could come up after them. And this is a song that he sang to her, asking Alai, as they were looking out to the view, asking her, "What mountain is that?" And she replies, all the names of the mountains around them. The story goes that she died from hunger, and he died a few days later from heartbreak. Murang ini alai, murang murut kaliput anoi nian, murang ini alai, murang siu jaripat alo sungai kanan, murang ini alai, murang suling selamat, murang ini alai, batu tujuan dan bulan, mudang ini alai, mudang kelelong tandung kaang mata. Thank you. Josh was suggesting I tell you a bit about the sape. I've been playing so long, I forget that it's not a normal instrument for people to see. But I wanted to share with you why Emma's role is so crucial to me. So, for those of you that don't know, when there's a like big production, like a rock band, for example, they always have guitar techs, bass guitar techs, drum techs. So these are guys or girls that will take care of the guitar, for example. So they will make sure it's in tune, make sure it's been serviced, make sure all the strings are good, and if there's any problems between the shows, they will like run on and then, I don't know, if they, like fix a string or tune it up again or something like that. Now, if people have guitar techs, I definitely need a sape tech because it's a very temperamental instrument. And actually, when we started learning, the hardest thing to learn about for the sape is how to maintain it. So when we started learning, you see these are tuning pegs. Now we use guitar tuning pegs, so it's tuning it is like a guitar. But back then, 20 years ago, we had to tune it. It was a stick in a hole with a fishing line wound around that stick. So when you tune it right, once you get the right tune, you have to like knock that stick in. Or if it's a stick here, then you like hit it on the floor, like that, until it's like stuck. But then in that process, if that stick moves a little bit, the tune will go off so fast. So tuning it was such a pain. And the frets. So these are frets, the notes, the place where I put my fingers that makes notes. I still play a traditional version of the sape. So the frets are movable. We stick it on with beeswax. So I have a chunk of beeswax behind my sape. You can see behind my sape. Here. And that means that... Why is everyone laughing? So that means that the frets can fall off so easily. And when they fall off, we had to learn how to carve them. There were a bunch of young girls, like always with penknives in our bags, carving these frets. And they had to be carved to like very, very specific heights. So they have to be in ascending height. It's really tough. So back to why sapit tech roll is so important. Also, the sapit can only be tuned in one key at one time. So that's a D. But I don't want to play a whole set for you guys in D. So sometimes we do E, sometimes we do F, just to jazz it up a bit. So yeah, that's why Emma tunes a lot for me. There's a lot of interesting things about sapit. We used to use fishing line instead of guitar strings. So I used to go to the fishing shop and ask the uncle, "Uncle, I want to buy metal fishing line." And he'd be like, "Oh, you want to fish shark or big fish?" And I was like, "Actually, it's for my sapit." So yeah, we used to use fishing line. But now the sapits are made shorter, so we can fit guitar strings on it. So yeah, in the last 10 years, there's a lot has changed in the shape of the sapit. Even I have one brother in Indonesia, Tambunesia, he makes double neck sapits. So really anything is possible right now with the sapit. This one is my baby. It was made by Mat Linggi. It was custom made. Yeah, a lot of stories. Any more stories? Oh, yeah. Oh, for those of you that are interested, this pickup that I use, I installed it here, is an acoustic pickup. So an acoustic pickup picks up the vibration of the wood because actually the sound comes from the back here. And when we practice, you see sapit players, we like to play like this because the sound is just incredible when it comes straight from the wood. So yeah, we use acoustic pickups. My other sapits use electric pickups like that on Josh's guitar. Those pick up the strings. So every sapit sounds different. Actually, I got one more story. Will you indulge me? Yeah.
Go for it.
I told you there's a lot of stories. It's a story about where the sapit came from. Where do I start? Okay, so it was one of our, long time ago. We don't know when, actually. We don't know how old the sapit is, but there was a traditional Kenya healer, and one day his wife fell ill, and he couldn't heal her. So he fell asleep in the farm, and in his sleep, a lady came to him and said, "When you wake up, carve out a piece of this tree and carve out strings from the body and play your wife these tunes and she will be healed." So that's what he did, and his wife was healed. And ever since then, the sapit was an instrument used for ritual healing, so to heal physical sicknesses, emotional sicknesses, and spiritual sicknesses, which sometimes are all in one the same thing. And then in the mid-1900s, early 1900s, they say 1930s to 1960s maybe, when majority of the communities in the highlands became Christian, the sapit was no longer relevant because it was no longer needed for ritual healing. So that's why the sapit was no longer played and no longer remembered. But nowadays, it's gone through a revival, and I think the sapit is very much alive. And I still believe that it does heal, and it's very meditative. And yeah, I think that's what we need right now, especially with everything that's going on social media. Yeah, so So yeah, I think it's a very powerful instrument with powerful music. Thank you. That's the first time Jimmy's played that.
Jimmy! Jimmy! Okay.
Oh, that feels so good. How's everyone doing? I really wish I could see you right now, but I can't. And I'm really grateful for all of you spending time with us. After this, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna read all your messages and all your comments. You can just leave us a note and let us know how you're feeling. Let us know where you are, what you're doing. Are you happy? And let me know how you spend your Gawai, how you spend your Raya. Yeah, I really like to feel close to all of you. What we do is quite different, I think, and there's a lot of hard work that goes on in this band beyond the music or before the music can happen. There's a lot of research, traveling, learning, meditating, because what we do is cultural and it's a very personal journey. So my point is we can only do it with everybody's support. So thank you. The next song is called Gituan. It means stars in Kalabit. It's a song that my cousin Josh, he and I wrote actually maybe 3 years ago now, and we'll be releasing it in July, which I'm really excited about. It's called Stars because we learned about how some of our greatest ancestors lived between the skies and the earth, and they led these dual lives. And they would travel through a large, big waterfall. And yeah, they had these two lives, in the sky and on earth. And I know several Dayak tribes also had that belief that there were these two worlds. And this is our meditation of that song. The lyrics are from a woman's point of view, and she says, my life is rice, well, my life is paddy, my life is beads, we are our ancestors, we are from the sky. It's very simple lyrics, but the idea is that in the past, the point of life was to reach spiritual greatness, and the men would achieve this greatness through headhunting, through hunting, providing meat, and providing for his family and the whole longhouse. And for a woman to achieve this spiritual greatness, she would be an expert in planting and harvesting rice, and she'd be an expert in beadwork. And these things are all still very important to Kalabit people. So, yeah, that was our meditation of the song. I wanted to add something else. Maybe I'll remember after the song. Thank you. Ooh-ha! 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 I remember what I wanted to share with you before this song. 1 second. So yeah, the first lyric is "My life is paddy," as in paddy or rice, and particularly before Gawai, I always kind of post on my social media that rice is sacred to us, and sometimes I wonder if that sounds really strange or it sounds really like drama or over romanticized. Does it?
No. It's life, it's food. It's life. Rice is life.
So, Gawai, I had a lot of time to reflect about Gawai this year actually, because usually it's a big party. This year it wasn't, and Gawai is a celebration of finishing the rice harvest. So last year I went back to Kampong, to the village, to harvest rice with my uncle Elias, and I hadn't done that since I was like 9 or something, and I spent like 3 days with him, and oh my gosh, it's such hard work. I think they actually spend like 4 to 6 weeks every day except for Sunday harvesting. And it's so hot. Any part of your body that's not covered will get burnt by the sun or cut by the paddy stalks. And I really came to a new appreciation for all of our family and all of the people in Borneo that still choose to be paddy farmers and work on their land and provide for us. And yeah, rice is so important for us. So that's why we celebrate the harvest. And it's a time of thanksgiving, of being grateful. And it's a time of rest and being together. And yeah, happy Gawai, everybody. Gawai actually lasts for 2 to 4 weeks. So throughout this time, we would be drying the paddy on the mats. And then once all that drying is done, we roll up the mat. So there's actually another festival at the end of Gawai called Ngiling Bidai, which is Iban for rolling up the mat, or Gulong Tika. So you can celebrate all month long. Think of everything that you're thankful for and grateful in this time. I'm really grateful for my band, my team, Jimmy, Josh, John, Emma, Din. And I'm really grateful for the production team as well. John, Jeremy, Alex, and Shawal. Thank you. Thank you, Jiao Tim. And I'm really grateful for all of you guys. Yeah. Ooh-ha! I saw one of my musician friends post this up on her Instagram. Free ways, not three, free ways that you can support musicians in this time. If you know any musicians, you can like their social media pages, you can subscribe to their YouTube page, watch content, and watch live online shows. And yeah, that's it, because all those things actually really do make a difference to us. The last song we have for you today is it's called Liling. I don't know if you guys have seen the video we posted up for Gawai. It was a beautiful project that brought together 9 different languages from Sarawak, and different singers and different families. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. And this is a song that usually the voices of hundreds and thousands of people in the Longhouse will sing at the end of the night. And yeah, if you know the lyrics, please sing along. If you don't know them, it's quite simple, so sing along. Yeah. Why we chose to make that video in 9 languages. It's just 9 out of like 80 languages in Sarawak. It's because our languages, a lot of them are endangered or threatened, meaning they would die off in the next generation or in my generation. So we think that using music to share our language is very important. So thank you for listening. You listening keeps our language alive. Woo-ha! Give it up for the band, everyone. Woo. There's one more person I need to thank as well. Sarah from Styler for styling me. Isn't this just... I would have never thought of this, so thank you, Sarah. She virtually styled me. Good night.